Some dare call it conspiracy.
Welcome to the Some Dare Call It Conspiracy podcast, hosted by Brent Lee and Neil Sanders. After nearly 20 years exploring the world of conspiracy culture, we are taking our guests and listeners on a guided tour of the rabbit hole. Our mission? To discover where the truth lies.
So we're continuing looking at the story of Mr. Cartland, a former GP from the south of England that during the COVID pandemic grew suspicious of both the government's response and the vaccines to a point where he started embracing what could be called conspiracy theories or fringe scientific theories from various places on the internet. He made his position clear in a Substack and then a letter that he sent to the GMC, and started off just looking for answers and wanting to debate people. Unfortunately, this seems to have deteriorated into tactics such as setting up sock puppet accounts, trying to dox people, and encouraging his followers that he accumulated on Twitter and Facebook and various other social media platforms to go after people that were critical of him or deigned to not give him a job as a GP. Things like that. So as we continue, in March 2023, March the 7th, there's this very brave woman who'd been chatting about COVID in the sort of general discourse of misinformation and disinformation. She's friends with Dr. C, friends by which I mean Twitter friends. I don't think they know each other in real life, but that's how Twitter works. It puts you in touch with people who are like-minded. And she started posting about a medical condition that she had. On the 17th of March, this is her speaking. My experience with Lipschutz ulcers began. Because my account was anonymous and I had quite a large following, I chose to speak openly about the condition in as much detail as I could. I wanted to raise awareness and educate people on something that was seemingly quite rare, literature confined to the case reports of case series. And it was successful. I had 7 women contact me to say that they felt seen because they had also experienced it, but many of them had been diagnosed with genital herpes despite negative test results. I also had a handful of healthcare professionals thanking me for my posts as they had learned something new. If it helped just one person, I considered it worth it, even in the face of horrendous abuse that I endured from anti-vaxxers. So this is a noble thing to do. It's obviously takes a huge amount of courage, something that is not well known, not well spoken about. And I just think that's really, really a courageous thing to do. And one of those things where how could you argue against something like that? That's fantastic. Mr. Cartland, who at this time we remember was a doctor, decides that the best course of action is to publicly mock her in a number of ways, but most repetitively calling this woman, and this is, remember, a doctor and an adult as well, replying to somebody who he's got a grievance with because they disagree about COVID and vaccines and such like that. But she's talking about a medical complaint, the sort of medical complaint that, as she points out, people are reluctant to go and see their doctors about because it's still considered embarrassing. And Mr. Cartland decided at that time to start calling this woman a blistered cunt and to basically pepper her with abuse and with mockery all the time, whilst again being under the moniker of Dr. Cartland GP, showing him in scrubs, wearing a stethoscope, mocking a woman that is trying to raise awareness about a fairly uncommon and slightly embarrassing medical condition. And that's just, I mean, it's childish. It also goes against everything he has this idea about do no harm. He called his book Do No Harm, and he talks about, well, the reason that I couldn't give vaccines and stuff was the Hippocratic Oath. It wasn't, pandering to an audience that suddenly embraced me online. No. But when things like this happen, it does beg the question, surely that's not true. Because you aren't demonstrating that here, are you? So Dr. B and Dr. C both advised her to complain to the GMC. And I don't know if she did. In fact, I don't know if she did, but I don't think she wasn't involved in the tribunal. He even started to harass another woman that he mistook for the original lady's second account. He thought that this completely separate woman was a burner account of the lady that had posted the information about her medical condition. It wasn't. And so he was just basically peppering again this poor other woman that just happened to be connected by a Twitter to the original lady with questions about her lesions and her blisters and her genitals. And this was clearly done to embarrass and to mock this person. This is a doctor. This is a doctor doing that. And according to all evidence, a grown man. That's pathetic. On March the 11th, Dr. Cartland tags Dr. A in a tweet from another anti-vax user encouraging a similar story about Dr. A, leading to Dr. A receiving numerous horrible messages. And this is from the tribunal. On the 11th of March, Dr. Cartland also tagged me in a tweet from another Twitter user so that I would be associated with that tweet. Redacted is also another anti-vax individual, and Dr. Cartland tagged me in the post and asked Redacted to make a similar story about me. The tribunal noted that Dr. A stated that, as a result of this, she received a number of horrible messages from other users and had to block about up to 30 people per day. The tribunal also noted that Dr. A exhibited a tweet that Dr. Cartland had posted, which states, "I need some dirt on this Dr. A, guys." So he's basically asking his followers to try and dig something up, which again raises the question, why would you need dirt? If you're a whistleblower who's looking to debate in good faith, why would you need gotcha tactics? Isn't that an ad hominem? It's coloring the narrative, isn't it? It's basically trying to make out that this person is unreliable. But at the same time, it's shifting away from the actual debate, which is the supposed thing that you're calling for. The tribunal also found that Mr. Cartland had tweeted, "This doctor still can't quit her vaccine-pushing addiction. Show her some love for all the babies and pregnant mums that she has inflicted spike protein upon." Classy. Can I ask you all a favor? This is a tweet that he put out. Can you flood Twitter with this link? Tag Dr. A in it too if you can. Pile on. I need some help from you guys. Does anyone know the curious Dr. A, O and G, or their online activity? Another one. Anyone know of any behavior from any OBS and gynae consultants on Twitter who have gaslit, abused, doxed, or harassed you in interactions with them? Naming no names. That's ironic. Anyway, so his career as a conspiracy face continues, and he appears on the Eyes Wide Open podcast. The title is The Red Pilling of a GP and the Coffee and a Mic podcast. He also appears on, and again, he's basically saying exactly the same stuff, all the tropes that are out there. He still isn't really whistleblowing. He's just repeating stories from the internet, but he also hits the big time, and he's booked to speak at a conspiracy conference in Gibraltar. And he's pictured Gareth Icke, God's grandson, decided to post a picture of him. I'll describe the picture. It's Gareth in the foreground, smiling and looking like he's having a nice time. There's a couple of cans of what appear to be alcoholic beers on the table, and Mr. Cartland is asleep in the background, splayed out on his palliasse with his So unfortunately, and I forget the name of this particular conference. I can't remember what it was actually called. It was something like Freedom Gibraltar or some shit or other. It was all of the movers and the shakers went there, but unfortunately, Cartland wasn't able to deliver his talk. According to himself, he'd suffered from a violent bout of diarrhea, and so was just unable to deliver the talk. And we're not cheap enough to do jokes about him shitting himself when faced with having to actually sort of promote his ideas. That's beneath us. In April 2023, Dr. C reports Dr. Cartland to the GMC due to continued harassment on social media. And this was after Dr. C had already blocked him. Dr. C, and this is the tribunal, Dr. C says even though he'd blocked him, Dr. Cartland continued to harass him on social media, and so he reported Dr. Cartland to the GMC in April 2023. Dr. Cartland then posted about him waiting for an apology from Dr. C. Dr. Cartland redacted and the GMC, and calling Dr. C a chief snitch. Dr. C describes that on one occasion, Dr. Cartland posted a picture of him and Dr. C, and when a user asked who it is, Dr. Cartland said, "That's the leader of the 77th. Dr. C describes in his statement that the term 77th Brigade refers to what the term 77th Brigade refers to. He says that it is a term used by conspiracy theorists who think that it is a secret section of the British Army set to undertake electronic warfare and target people that the government do not like. Dr. C says that he's not a member of such a group." Now, one of the things that Cartland says is that basically he was being harassed and he was being bullied, and bits like this showed that that might not have been the case, or might have been his perspective, but that perspective might not have been shared by everybody else. There's no doubt that Twitter is a place where people say horrible stuff to each other, and there's no doubt that Dr. C and various other people were getting into arguments with Cartland. There's absolutely no doubt that probably bad language and swearing was involved, probably insults as well. But there's things like when Dr. C has already blocked him, and it would appear, according to the tribunal, that there's a continuation from one side of this argument. And also, again, the tactics that are used, such as encouraging people to pile on the obstetrician, encouraging people to essentially dox and to a degree menace the poor lady who just simply said that he wasn't suitable to work at a vaccine center, seeing as he was clearly anti-vax. You know, she just politely said, "I'm sorry, we don't have a job for you." And that this seems to imply more of a combative than a retaliatory. And who knows? Maybe that's because he's in his mind. He feels that basically, like it's his position. He is his position. Do you know what I mean? And so he feels that he has to fight back. Okay, but that's not the case. And these sorts of things are over the top, and they're not helping anybody. And for somebody that says that they just want to debate, these things would detract from your debate. In other tweets, Dr. C stated that Dr. Cartland had implied that Dr. C had had a childhood head injury and severe autism. And this was in the context of the debate about childhood vaccines. As part of this debate, Dr. C says that Cartland posted, "Please take pity on these dimwit cranks and explain why this was allowed on our children. I thought you liked children, Dr. C, or is that just the children of the sheep variety?" Dr. C also states that Dr. Cartland calls him, for example, a sheep molesting, redacted year-old man who plays computer games alone in a dark and slightly weird horror movie set bedroom, and also an abhorrent human being. On June 2023, on the 6th to the 7th, Dr. Cartland posts what the tribunal will call homophobic imagery and comments targeting Dr. B on Twitter, including comparing pride flags to Nazi flags, and also insinuating that Dr. B is a paedophile. I thought this was the putting the pride flags in the shape of the swastika, like Lawrence Fox had done, but I don't think it was. I think there was essentially like a shot of some pride flags hanging, on a street, and then there was some Nazi flags hanging on a street as well. And so there was the comparison, and they were saying, like, what's the difference? And
it's like they were doing it like it's the same picture.
And it's like, come on, it's not, is it? Don't be stupid. Anyway, so who is Dr. B? Dr. B is a locum consultant in pediatrician A&E. He is a GMC specialist register for pediatrics, and he's also involved in health promotion. The exact role is redacted. He's one of Dr. Cartland's complainants. He became aware of Dr. Cartland in January 2023 due to his online behavior. Dr. Cartland posted out-of-context quotes for him, leading to negative and homophobic comments. Dr. Cartland's conduct was found to be motivated by hostility towards the LGBTQ plus community. Dr. B deactivated his Twitter account due to the onslaught of abuse and filed a civil claim against Dr. Cartland, which resulted in a settlement and an apology that Dr. Cartland later rescinded. Dr. B continued to be harassed by Dr. Cartland even during the tribunal proceedings, leading to a second civil claim. He reported suffering from anxiety and seeing a therapist due to Cartland's actions. Now, Dr. B is a celebrity doctor who we won't name, but people will probably be able to figure it out. We're not naming anybody in this whole thing, by the way, because we're going by the tribunal rules, and we don't wish to cause any distress for anybody other than what has already happened to them. Apparently, he's on the telly and such like that. I was speaking to a neighbor about this, and he went, "Well, that guy from CBeebies." So apparently this bloke is on sort of children's television and such. Cartland basically led a campaign of abuse against Dr. B that resulted in him taking him to court, and the case was settled out of court he paid costs, Cartland did, and he also issued a public apology. But then later he started doing the same thing again. Also, in June 2023, Cartland decides to message the ex-conspiracy theorist Brent Lee. Cartland apparently messaged you and said, "You said you're a recovered conspiracy theorist. You must therefore agree that you admit you have fallen for narratives against an evidence-based." Oh, the irony. The irony is so thick you could split it with your own fingers. Could it be possible that you have done it again and fallen for the biggest conspiracy on God's earth? And you respond, "What would that be?" And Cartland says that COVID-19 was exaggerated and that the vaccine's benefit were equally exaggerated and their harms understated. Right, okay, whatever. But then, completely out of the blue, Cartland starts tweeting that Brent Lee, co-host of Some Dare Call It Conspiracy, is having a torrid affair with a BBC journalist. And it's like, I mean, you kept that one quiet from me.
Kept it quiet from myself.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I was there. Like, think logically, for Christ's sake. Anyway, so, and this is taken from a blog that was discussing this. One person who tried to reason with Cartland is the former conspiracist Brent Lee. Back in June, it seemed that he had made some headway, and he related that Cartland appeared to be able to put his beliefs aside when it came to discharging his professional duties. And this is yourself. I was so annoyed on Tuesday that I decided to confront Dr. David Cartland and surprise him with a video call. I'm blocked here, and I remembered that we'd arranged the infamous debate, which he didn't turn up to, on Telegram. And I'm glad I did it. I was able to show him around the factory where I worked and convince him that I'm just a regular guy. I was able to explain why I do what I do, and hopefully have convinced him that I'm not connected to anyone and that I have nothing to do with any complaints against him. Cartland is a conspiracy theorist, but also, and now this is very important, Cartland is a doctor, and he cares about health. I told him about, and he literally transformed into an attentive and caring GP and offered me a lot of advice. We're not friends, and we never will be, but it was good to smooth a few things over, and I appreciate him taking the time to take my call. So, just before we get into it, I did think of another thing in regards to the 77th and in regards to the requirements to be in the territorial armies or the normal army. And there's one glaring thing that we've absolutely 100% missed. And it's, well, how long is your hair, Brent? Like,
Yeah,
for people that don't know,
way
Brent
past
has,
my shoulder, like down to my nipples. Yeah.
Brent has got extremely long, luscious, and beautiful Timothée style hair. And they don't go for that in the army, even in the territorials. They like, this is like why, you know, you don't see people with man buns like in war films. It tends to be a crew cut, but hey ho. Still, and this is still June, and Cartland tweets out, I hope Brent Lee doesn't mind me saying it was really good speaking to him earlier and to chat as adults and iron out issues. And I'll say this, social media, text are no substitute for having a mature conversation to add context. It's time to build dialogue between points of views to find solutions. Couldn't agree more. So what happened there, Brent? You literally just like, he was tweeting about this BBC reporter and you were like, this is just outrageous, and contacted him just out of the blue.
Yeah, he was posting that, and then he was also talking about me as if I was in the 77th, I was an agent, this and that.
Oh, right.
And some of his followers take that seriously, and
Yes,
they do
that's true.
think that I am something like that. And I just kind of snapped and had enough. I was like, I need to contact this guy and just show him where I work, so I did. Like I said, I remembered I had his phone number, and I was like, does Telegram do video calls? Yes, it does. Excellent. Tried to ring him. He didn't answer the first time, and then I did it again, and he answered, and then we just started chatting, and then I was like, look, this is who I am, and this is where I work. Here's like the product. Here's my tools. This is what I wear every day, just normal work clothes. Like, this is the warehouse side. This is I was just literally showing him everything. And then we were chatting about stuff, and we started chatting about, like, he asked me, why do you care so much about the vaccine and COVID and everything if COVID isn't as dangerous as they say or whatever?
Right.
And I was like, look, to be honest, it's not the death that drives me. It's not the deaths of the people that catch COVID that drives me. It's the people who are getting long COVID after. It's the high numbers of that. It's the high numbers of basically a chronic fatigue syndrome style disease. And that's what I'm concerned about. I don't want like a large swathe of our population like being ill. So we talked about that, and he was like, he kind of saw where I was coming from. Because I was like, I'm not like being over dramatic about it and being like, oh yeah, everyone who catches COVID is going to die. Like, that's not how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the long-term thing, and yeah, we had a good conversation, as people can tell from those 2 public statements that we made.
A moment of clarity, potentially. Didn't last long though. And this is again from that blog. He started spreading rumors online that I was having an affair with my friend, a well-known journalist, so I blocked him. Soon after this, submitted all of our communications, including the harassment, to a GMC complaint against him. 4 months on, I see he's continuing this rumor. At one point, 4 months on, I see he's been still continuing this rumor. Why? It's so strange. Like it's so weird that he flipped again. Like I wonder if it's the lure of the audience, because in social media you are constantly under the scrutiny of an audience, aren't you? That you're cultivating, and it could have been quite difficult for him. He may have got backlash or whatever. Like, don't be fooled. Like, if they can film the moon landing in Arizona, like Brent Lee with his massive access to government funding can definitely like go and just like stand in a factory and show you some tools and things like that. Maybe that was it. I mean, it does seem it's silly.
It's strange. It's weird. Like I said, we saw eye to eye. We had a moment of like, off of social media, this is who we are. We're just normal people. Like, let's get on for a minute. Just, we don't have to be friends, but just look at
least
each other.
Stop the animosity. Like, I mean, that's the crazy thing as well.
Stop the lies. Stop the lies.
Yeah.
Stop making things up about me. Because I was like, this is serious, man. Like, there are crazy people out there that will take this serious, and they could hurt me. It happens, and I don't want that happening to me, my family, anyone who I know. Like, that isn't what I wanted. So I was kind of out of desperation, just thinking, I have to talk to this guy and just show him who I am. I just have to. And it was strange. Like, it was literally a few days later that he didn't even post it on social media first. He texted me while I was sat having dinner, and the notification came up on my phone. I didn't know you were shagging MS.
Right.
So I text back,
excuse me?
And he wrote back, And so I think you've got the chat logs, haven't you? What was my response? I'm sure it was, you're a fucking idiot, goodbye.
Yeah, that was it as well. And then there was a bit about, there was definitely that, like, as well. And it was bizarre. Anyway, you clearly tried to sort of like, if only out of annoyance, but you tried to build bridges, and there was a bit of reciprocity in that. Like, basically, like, he gave you some advice for something. You basically again had a bit of a chat with him. It all seemed to end on, okay, fine, maybe we've got somewhere. And then bizarrely, he carries on with the spreading of these rumors. Also in that month, he was interviewed by Jackie Devoy, smart person from the world according to some, and also went on the Children's Health Defence. The Children's Health Defence is that crazy organisation that's connected to RFK Jr., very anti-vax. So we can see he's becoming more and more of a face within the conspiracy world. And we all know what happens when you're in the conspiracy world. You get shown more and stranger conspiracies, and they become more normalized, and basically you start to take on board and at least think about ideas that you wouldn't have thought about before in a way that you'd entertain them, whereas a while ago you just wouldn't. And this is due to your environment. And speaking about your environment, rather unwisely, in July of 2023, Cartland decides to go on a bit of a Twitter rant about the place that he lives. He tweets out on July the 1st, 2023, anybody near to Southwest Cornwall fancy a beer tomorrow in the PM or evening? I'm sick of my inbred village. It's not a good idea. On July the 25th, Cartland posts a screenshot of Mrs. J's email on Twitter, leaving her first name visible with the derogatory comment. And in August, he decides that he wants to have another go at his village. He says, and this is August the 1st, I've been removed from my village Facebook page for posting spike protein protocol and trying to awaken them to the harms of the jab. Can't say I didn't try. 2 days later, he said, I'd like to make a public apology to my village, as in a lapse of judgment, I referred to them as inbreds. For my stance on COVID, I've been bullied, cancelled, blanked, reported, lost work, reputation, finance for standing up against the tyranny and medical establishment. Who's bullied him at this point? Like, I thought he cancelled. I thought you resigned or walked out in a huff. I'm confused here about his position, to be quite honest. In fact, if anything, like, you know, he's lost work and reputation. It's like, you walked out of the job. You said that you resigned. Like, I don't understand this. You've been applying for other jobs, but the tyranny of the medical establishment. So why are you applying for jobs with them? Lost work, reputation. Well, I don't know. Like, why would you see it as that if you think that you're right? Like, I don't. This seems confused and contradictory to me. Do you see what I mean? He seems to be straddling at least two positions, and I don't think that they track, to be quite honest. But anyway, on August the 6th, Dr. Cartland posted a screenshot of Mrs. J's email again, leaving her first name visible and naming the practice that she works at. Do you remember she had the temerity to not give him a job, stating that he was turned down due to his vaccine views, which is absolutely true. It was a vaccination center, essentially, or had a pro-vaccination stance. In August 2023, he appears on the Phil Escott Show. No idea who he is. In September 2023, Dr. Cartland messages an individual on WhatsApp, and he offers to provide a COVID-19 exemption certificate, stating that he would list a medical exemption for anyone, regardless of genuine medical reason, based on bodily autonomy. The individual will later report this to the GMC in January 2024. So the messaging goes, and Cartland will later reframe this as insignificant, that he never actually gave out any certificates, which is contradicted by other things that he said, and also thinks that this is a bit of a sting, which it essentially is. So this unnamed individual on WhatsApp, someone who messaged Dr. Cartland about a COVID-19 exemption certificate, described as an agent provocateur by Cartland, suspected by him to be working with Dr. B or Dr. C. The individual posed as someone who'd refused the jab but needed an exemption for US travel, prompting Dr. Cartland to offer a false medical exemption. So here are the messages between Dr. Cartland and the unnamed individual on WhatsApp, which were sent between the 14th of September and the 27th of September 2023. Hi, David. I've been passed your number as I believe you can provide COVID exemption certificates. I'm traveling to the US for work soon, but refuse the jab. Is that the case? Cartland responds, yes, can help you if you book a slot on so-and-so can get you sorted for this ASAP. Glad you refused the poison. The individual responds, thank you. Can you give me an idea of what it will cost me? And are they guaranteed to work through customs? And are they legal? Cartland responds, I charge £65 for consultation up to an hour and £30 for the letter. He then tweets out after that, or messages after that, I do pro bono work if needed. The individual responds, I'm more than happy to pay, but thank you. Do I need a genuine exemption reason, or will you sort that side out? And Cartland, who's a doctor at this point, says, the reason I give is medical, but it's an ethical position I have taken to acknowledge bodily autonomy, and so happy to put medical exemption for anyone on the principle whether have one or not. That's a typo. And the individual responds, I have got a caravan for sale if you're interested. Is it just for you or the whole family? To which Cartland responds, blocked. In response to the specific allegation that he offered to provide a COVID-19 exemption certificate, Cartland has stated, So-and-so redacted inquired as to whether I do exemptions for purpose of travel to USA, as they allegedly still had restrictions despite it being September 2023, which seemed unusual as most mandates such as this had been withdrawn. I said I could help via my online platform. He asked for an idea of cost, and I quoted the stated consult fee and admin fee for a letter. I also said that I'd do them for pro bono if required. I have advised him to seek a consult with me to determine more detail on his situation and medical exemption reasons. I have at no point agreed to complete, nor did I ever complete this individual's exemption, and they never booked in, and I blocked them after their prior rudeness. But at other times, he brags about giving out many more. And also he stated in the text that this is an ethical decision. If it's an ethical decision, own it. Don't try and wriggle out of it. Either you did this because you have strong ethical feelings, or you didn't do it. Which one was it? And if you have strong ethical feelings, what your response should be, yeah, I did all of those. Why not? Now, there are other instances which we will come on to later where he's claimed to have done, and I quote, loads. On Telegram, I believe he claimed to have done at least 10 to 12. Somewhere else, he said that he charged £60 a pop. But the thing is, what this doctor has agreed to do to somebody that he doesn't know is to lie and provide a false medical certificate. He may have reasons for that, his ethics. He may believe that that was the right thing to do. But one thing that you can't get around is he offered to lie and produce a false certificate, saying that he didn't do it. That's like saying to the undercover FBI officer that you previously thought was a hitman that you'd hired to kill your wife. Well, lucky I didn't go through with it, isn't it? So I presume no crime's been committed and we can all just go home? No. Just because the hitman turned out to be an FBI agent didn't mean that wasn't still what's going to happen. Just because this person didn't follow through with buying the certificate, the falsified medical certificate off you, that doesn't mean that you didn't offer it. Why did they get in contact with you in the first place? You said, it's an ethical position I've taken to acknowledge bodily autonomy. So I'm happy to put a medical exemption for anyone on that principle, whether I have one or not, which is basically whether you have a medical condition or not. So this idea, and that's quite slippery as well. That's why I was charging him, what was it? £65 for a consultation and £30 for the letter. Like, I mean, in fairness, he did say I'll do it for free if you want. But when he's trying to get out of it, it's like, that's why I suggested a consult, because I really wanted to find out what was going on with this person. That's not true at all. You said that on ethical grounds, you would give a falsified medical certificate to anyone. That's what it says in that text. Unless I've read it wrong. If I read that, that's what it seemed to say to me. Anyway, in October 2023, Dr. B takes out a civil claim against Dr. Cartland for defamation, which is later settled out of court, with Dr. Cartland agreeing to undertakings and an apology, which essentially means that he ended up paying him a sum of money and paying for Dr. B's costs. And this is, again, for defamation. During this time, Dr. Cartland posts or reposts content on Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram regarding Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C. Dr. Cartland encourages other social media users to obtain information about or contact and or harass Dr. A, Dr. B, who he's just settled out of court with, and Dr. C. If we remember, Dr. A is the obstetrician, Dr. C is the immunologist. And he tweets out, "The smug I have had 6 in I Am OK Brigade will continue to play Russian roulette with their health until they find the bullet. When this happens, let me place on record, I will still help you. Whatever names you can continue to call, I will help you with detox now, and I help you with detox when you are unwell." A few days later, Dr. Cartland tweets out, and this is the crux of his sort of defense. It seems that this individual from behind a block is making outrageous claims and statements about me and whipping up quite an abusive storm about me whilst publicly stating they have reported me to the GMC. Nothing at all coordinated about this, all the usual. And then he uses a stone head emoji, like an Easter Island head, all the usual stone head interaction too. Time to get the police to look at this as it's malicious, vexatious, and nefarious in its coordination. I am being targeted. And he again, this is how he presents it, that he's being targeted by a group who are harassing him. The irony of him trying to whip up people to do exactly that sort of thing against people that he's been found to have defamed is not lost on you, I'm sure, dear listener. He also thinks that people following each other on Twitter is evidence of coordination. And that's just how Twitter works. Like, particularly during COVID, where it was like, what's your position on COVID? It's fake. The vaccines kill people. Or, no, that's silly. Come on. Let's all be adults. Like, of course. Like, that's how I found you. Like, from going to working with bloody David Icke to finding all these people that, like, you know, had the opposite opinion. And, like, it's just how Twitter works. It's how all social works, right? Again, he himself has a cadre of like-minded followers who all follow similar people. That doesn't mean that they're all coordinated. Also, the Stonehead thing is very funny. Basically, because Cartland was saying, like, the 77th are after me, the Mutton crew are after me, somebody said, why don't we come up with just a completely, like, benign symbol, and we'll try and create it, make it into a conspiracy theory. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a joke. And that, I think it was the same person who said, why not the Easter Island thing? That's vaguely conspiratorial, or it's just funny. That was picked. And that's it. And it works because, as we can see, they're like, oh, this Stonehead, this is like, you know, this is obviously, because if you were a super secret army-based government-sponsored organization that was trying to covertly manipulate the narrative of people online, you'd probably have like an identifying badge or something, wouldn't you? That's just how spycraft goes. Anyway, on December 2023, Cartland appeared on Dr. Malik's Honest Health podcast. Dr. Ahmed Malik is a consultant orthopedic foot and ankle surgeon and the director of the London Foot and Ankle Clinic based at Princess Grace Hospital, the Chiltern Hospital. And there is, you know, uniquely positioned to have an opinion on COVID. In recent years, he's gained significant public attention for his outspoken criticism of COVID-19 policies and vaccines. He is a specialist, however, in all aspects of foot and ankle conditions, including sports injuries, trauma, bunions, and complex deformity correction. So let's not just, you know, cast his opinion aside. Malik became a prominent figure in the NHS 100K movement, protesting against mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations for all healthcare workers. During an appearance on GB News in January 2022, he claimed that vaccinated individuals were more likely to be infected than the unvaccinated. And these statements were obviously flagged as misleading and completely untrue by fact checkers such as Full Fact and Reuters. In September 2023, his practicing privileges were suspended with immediate effect by a private hospital group following a referral to the General Medical Council. So, unfortunately, he was struck off. But that's the people that Cartland was hanging out with. But again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy as well, because like as Cartland, Mr. Cartland himself has said, like, you know, he was targeted for his COVID-19 whistleblowing. It wasn't for all this stuff he was doing on social media. It was. But this is the same thing with Dr. Malik. I was targeted for speaking the truth. It's like, come on. That's not what happened. In December of 2023, Mr. Cartland continues to attack the woman that he mistook for the lady with the medical condition. So this is just some random woman that keeps getting tweets and interactions and him going under comments and posts that she's done. And despite being told at least twice that he's got the wrong person, he keeps posting the same question over and over again. This is a doctor and supposedly a grown man. This is somebody who talks about do no harm and he wants to help the pregnant women, remember? Wants to help the children. He's a family man. But for some reason, this woman who's convinced wrongly is this person that he was having an argument with. He decides to continually post, how's the lesions? In January, so, just after the New Year's, 5th of January, new year, new me, etc. But no, he decides again to attack the woman. This is not the woman who was tweeting about lip short ulcers. This is just somebody else that he's become convinced is her, but absolutely isn't. And he decides to spam all of her tweets with the simple phrase, warts. On the 29th of January, he decides to start attacking the original woman with several phrases asking about her genitals. And anybody that basically calls him out and says, like, what are you doing? Come on, on a number of levels. One, just grow up. 2, that's just abhorrent behavior. 3, you're a doctor. You're a doctor. That you do understand how this looks terrible. And brings the entire sort of medical establishment into disrepute. This is exactly the sort of, this is ironic because this is exactly what the brave young lady was trying to do, was trying to bring attention to something. How many people fucking die and stuff like that because they don't get the prostate checked and stuff like that? Do you know what I mean? We have this strange culture of embarrassment about medical things and bodies and such like that, even to this day. For her to be saying you shouldn't be embarrassed about this situation, and if you get a diagnosis of this and you don't feel that that is correct, this is an alternative, and to draw attention to these things, it is incredible. And for him to sully that and to ruin that, can you imagine being a woman that was like, oh, maybe that's the sort of thing that I've got, that might be something that rings bells for me. I might book a consultation with my GP, only to see a GP online addressing these women as blistered cunts and asking them about their warts and lesions. I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned by that. It's appalling. In March 2024, Dr. David Cartland, at the time, tweets out, so many NHS staff, managers, smug nurses and doctors that I want to say this to, but I will say it to you all together and let this remain on the record. I told you so. You incompetent, complicit, uneducated, guilty, lying frauds. I told you so. You are a disgrace to science, nursing, healthcare and medicine. You evil, evil individuals. History will not let this go. You will feel the full wrath of the people, justice, and the law. Nice to see him behaving magnanimously and not completely unhinged. Oh, no, wait. 3 days later, despite, announcing this sort of blood oath against the entire NHS for reasons, he decides to start playing the victim again. Sorry. Not been able to respond to every message this week. I don't mind admitting all the stress, and it has started to take its toll. Cleared my diary for the next 2 weeks to get some headspace and some rest. I really hope those who dish out the abuse, bullying and stalking from behind a block and in anonymity, the incessant reporting to try and cost me in my career and hard-earned reputation, realize the toll their faceless keyboard warrior abusers had on their victims. I can't imagine the level of hatred these people have in their hearts to perpetually ridicule, harass, and bully those that they do not even know. Those who stood up, spoke out, and risked it all by asking questions and raising concerns. Nothing more, nothing less. Just be nice to people. It's not that difficult. Do we even need to go over that? I infer a certain degree of intelligence in our audience. Don't wish to rehash things that are obvious. Dr. C's supplemental second statement, dated the 28th of March 2024, he confirms that since his first statement and during the GMC investigation, the tweets have continued, and gives further examples. Notably, Dr. C confirms that Dr. Cartland posted an extract of his first GMP statement on Twitter, followed by what he perceived to be threats, stating that Dr. C will need to get lawyered up, that he is a sick fuck, and that his complaint is a fantasy novel, vexatious and coordinated. Well, I mean, if it's coordinated, it's probably not fantasy. Never mind. Anyway, Dr. C confirms in his statement again that he's not a member of the 77th Brigade, and he's not colluded with Dr. A or Dr. B to make a complaint. He explains also that many mentions of the Mutton Crew or Mutton Trolls in Dr. Cartland's post relates to Dr. Cartland's apparent belief that Dr. C is the leader of both the 77th and a Mutton Crew group to discredit Dr. C. Dr. C says that he is not a member of any such group. I don't know if we've explained this. Like, it's to do with he was a farmer. We have explained this, isn't it? And so they decided to label anybody that was connected to Dr. C, by which meant followed him on Twitter, responded to a post that he did. Anybody that agreed with him about vaccines being safe or disagreed with Cartland and his followers must be part of this group, must be part of either the 77th, but the Mutton Crew was seemingly a part of the 77th, except he wasn't, because it doesn't exist. Dr. C gives examples in his statement when he says that Dr. Cartland was encouraging others to tag him. On his Telegram account, Dr. Cartland sent a link to his Getter account and then posted, "Tag Dr. C on particular. We will give him a hero's welcome." On his Telegram account, Dr. Cartland posted, "Please share wherever you feel appropriate. In particular, Dr. C's sheepfolk on Twitter." Referring to a Twitter Spaces debate that Dr. C took part in, Dr. Cartland posted a long tweet which ended, "Feel free to share the whole of the entirety so people can see him, Dr. C, for what he is and avoid. He's a notorious cyberbully and Twitter string puller." Oh my God, does he still think that he's got sway at Twitter? That's incredible. Like, I wonder if he's convinced himself, because, like, as you say, the alternative is that you've just made a fool of yourself. Anyway, Dr. C confirms in his statement that after Dr. Cartland posts about him, he receives a lot of tweets from other users with comments such as, "I know about you and your sheep, and you will suffer, TikTok, the day is coming, and you are 77th. Also in March 2024, Dr. B makes a statement and explains that Dr. Cartland tweeted, "Lying bastards," when posting a video of Dr. B and another doctor discussing the intensive care units during COVID. Cartland also posted, "A certain doctor likes to dress up as the Baphomet at weekends, and he included an emoji of a satanic type statue with a sheep's head." So Dr. B explains that he took out a civil claim against Dr. Cartland for harassment and defamation, but during the civil proceedings, the claim was settled, and Cartland agreed to undertakings centered around non-contact and also signed a statement in open court, part of which read, "On behalf of Mr. Cartland, I wish to associate myself with everything that has been said by counsel for the claimant. Mr. Cartland never had any basis at all to make the false allegations against the claimant for which he was responsible. He wishes to apologize unreservedly for the damage caused to claimant and his reputation by his publications and associated distress, and to express his profound and unreserved regret for all the harm for which he is responsible." Dr. B explained in his third statement that despite the settlement, within 24 hours, Cartland continued to post about me on Twitter, seemingly breaking the terms of the agreement and demonstrating a complete lack of remorse or insight into what he had done. As a result, my legal team contacted his representatives to give him one last chance to remove the offending posts before further formal proceedings would be issued in court. And this is an interesting thing, that basically within 24 hours, Cartland could not help himself. He was back on Twitter posting abuse about Dr. B, breaking the terms of that he'd signed. I wonder how much a sort of social media addiction that we will talk about this later, but basically, like, he's in a position where he's rejected his former colleagues, his former identity, essentially, and he's been love bombed by all these people who've taken the fact that he's a GP and the appeal to authority really is like good for their cause. They've got somebody that's got authority and got knowledge seemingly about the situation that can stake their claims and argue their corner with a degree of experience and qualifications that would seemingly back up his opinions. And so the more he fights against his former life, the more he gets the praise, the love, the sort of inclusion in the conspiracy world. And he's kind of in a difficult situation because some people in the conspiracy world will still be wary of him because he worked for that establishment for so long. He even had the vaccine, which he tries to get ahead of by saying, I was coerced and all this. No, don't look too closely at the contradictions of my position. And later at the tribunal, he'll get himself into trouble by tweeting. Even when people are not bothering him, the debate, the back and forth has not happened, he's still tweeting. He for some reason was so obsessed with Twitter that he thought that you had some sway at Twitter, that you could phone up your man Jack Dorsey and get him like put back on. Same thing with Dr. C. Like, all of these things at a time of great stress, when he's gone through the uncertainty. He's also lost his job. That was his own fault, but this is all very, very stressful. He's lost his friend to COVID. We don't know what's going on in his personal life. Like, you can see why people would make the poor decision moving towards these positions that give you like short-term dopamine hits and make you feel good, but ultimately you're digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper every single time. Ironically, again, the more like that you like the deeper you dig yourself, the more it shows to the people that are gravitating towards you that you're legit. In April 2024, the tribunal noted that Dr. A's second statement to the GMC dated 3rd of April, in which she describes that since her complaint to the GMC and her first witness statement, Dr. Cartland has continued to post about her. She describes a time when Dr. Cartland set up a fake account, which she followed, and that she then received a message in response which said, "Hi, Dr. A, you evil witch." She then describes another post relating to her, which said, "Me and this cretin have history," and another that stated, "The actual audacity," alongside a picture of Dr. A after she had written an article about the safety of the vaccine for pregnant women. Again, this setting up of fake accounts and such like that, it jibes rather with this honorable whistleblower just open for debate. Like, maybe you could make the argument, if you're really trying to stick up for him, that like, well, that's Twitter. This is the tactics of war, but this isn't war. So, the tribunal tweeted some of the tweets. "Me and this cretin have history. Dr. A doesn't know what she's talking about. This doctor has complained to the GMC about me. Incredible claims, need incredible evidence to back it up. Dr. A is likely 77th. She's an ONG consultant. Remove yourself from my group and stop being malicious." How's this obstetrician? She's in the army too, is she? She's going down the territorial armies and cleaning. This is my rifle. This is my gun. All that shit. Come on. Update on the vexatious, nefarious, malicious. Oh my God, he's a rhymer. Update on the various vexatious, nefarious, malicious. That's like early Eminem stuff. That's good. GMC report of an online bully harasser. And it's lost it now. And an online insight. Oh no, he's back. This is a genuine verse. Update on the vexatious, nefarious, malicious GMC report of an online bully harasser and online inciter of hate by the following Dr. B, C, and A. complaints. It's lost it there. For a minute, like that was going. The booster was tested on 20 mice, good for you and your unborn. How's that 250,000 K doing? Oh, muttons, you have been sloppy. You are going down, all of you. And then a picture of Dr. A accompanied by the slogan, still makes me sick. As reported in the Express, David apologizes to Dr. B. Redacted achieved a small victory after a brutal troll was forced to retract his paedophile accusation against him and made to apologize for his actions. Redacted shared the apology in his Instagram page. He penned, "Finally, after a horrible process spanning almost a year, this individual has at last been held accountable and made to apologize and pay for his disgusting attacks. But I am not the only person he has targeted. There are so many others who have been caused unnecessary distress because of his unprofessional behavior. No doubt more of his antics will be revealed at the GMC hearing this year. I'm hoping he will face the proper repercussions." As reported by Bart's Notes, this was the blog from earlier where I took the dialogue from you. It's a very good blog. People should go and look at it. As reported by Bart's Notes, the reference in there to the GMC is likely to confuse many Express readers. In tabloid land, the stereotypical troll is either a social inadequate or a crude thug. Yet here we have a different species, a troll with professional credentials and standing. Although not named by the paper, the accuser was none other than Dr. David Cartland, who in recent years has become infamous on social media for making wild claims about COVID vaccinations and other subjects, as noted by prominent Twitter user John By. Dr. Cartland is under investigation by the GMC over allegations of bullying and harassment. He claims that COVID vaccines make you magnetic and has shared bizarre conspiracy theories about 5G, chemtrails, and Freemasons. He's friends with David Icke. Cartland tweets, "In May and June 2023, I published various tweets alleging that Redacted was a paedophile or sympathized unjustifiably with paedophiles. I accept that these allegations were wholly untrue and that I had no basis to make them. I sincerely apologize to Redacted for the harm and upset that I have caused. I've made a donation to a charity of his choice and paid his legal costs. I will not be commenting on this matter again, save for any response that I give in evidence, written or oral, before a court or a tribunal in England or Wales." That will prove to be catastrophically untrue. Anyway, June 2024, the lady with the medical condition is interviewed about Cartland's bullying on Some Dare Call It Conspiracy. Represent. We said, I think the exact phrase was, I don't think we knew who the guy was at the time, but we said that he seems like an inadequate loser. And he responds by basically trying to belittle her and lying about her role in the NHS. Why would, this is Cartland, why would you not listen to a lab tech / tea maker and a former nail technician on all things COVID, Brent? You're a joke, pal, an absolute embarrassment. He then names one of the women that the original woman, then the woman that he's been attacking, thinking that it was her. Two of the most active mutton crew, and up there with the biggest bulliers, inciters on Twitter. Yeah, so classy. On the 9th of June, Cartland starts posting, referring to the lady as cultured blister and telling me to stick to nails. He's again confusing her with the other lady who is actually a nail technician, and he's actually very, very good at it, apparently. Cultured blisters having a hissy fit. Stick to nails. Love. Leave the science to those that have been at medical school for 8 years and practiced for 15. So how many years is that? And he's pissing it down the fucking sink to call a woman that he doesn't know, that has disagreed with him about his position on COVID vaccines, a blistered cunt. At this point, by the way, his name on Twitter is Honest, Ethical, Safe Dr. David Cartland. He couldn't write it. In July 2024, he tweets out, "Does anyone know of an uncorrupted Bible-believing church that isn't full of Pharisees in the southwest Cornish Peninsula willing to travel? Because unfortunately, he's managed to get himself kicked out of his local church. The rumor which is flying around is that he is no longer welcome at his original church because he fell out with all the other members due to his views and due to calling them inbred. Things like that. Also, a lot of people disagreed with the tactics that he was using on Twitter. That is what I've heard. In August 2024, on the 1st of August, Cartland yet again has a go, completely unprovoked, completely out of the blue, at the lady with the medical condition, suggesting that she's promiscuous and could infect numerous people. Now, here's the thing, right? Okay, he's obviously not been reading her blog, because this is the whole point. Her condition isn't transmissible, and it actually cleared up ages ago. That's why she felt now is the time to tell everybody about it. But that doesn't stop Dr. Cartland, a doctor, speculating online about a stranger's, and to use, I'm going to use the exact phrase that he uses, cunt. Thank you, GP. On the 6th of August, 5 days later, he again attacks the woman on a post that is completely unrelated. She's talking about something, and he goes on there and decides to call her a blistered cunt, and then decides, if that's not good enough, to go on a post that the other woman, the woman that's the nail technician, that is not the same person, and starts calling her repeatedly a slimy cunt. Dr. David Cartland, honest, ethical doctor. He threatens the two women that he's been abusing to keep his name out of their mouths, and adds, "This is a final warning." So he's gone proper Will Smith there. On the 28th of the month, he mocks the woman again, calls her an utter state, and again makes several very, very childish references to a stranger's genitals. In September 2024, Cartland starts posting about, again, that PCR tests can be faked by turning up the CT. This isn't true. It's a total misunderstanding about how they work. I don't think we've properly explained this before. Like, there's people who can explain it better online. The long and short of it, it comes from an interview with Carrie Mullis, where somebody said, "How come you can find HIV in these people?" And the context of that was that Carrie Mullis didn't think that HIV caused AIDS. And so he was confronted with the question, well, how come all these people that have got AIDS, you can find HIV in them? And he says, well, if you turn it up, then you can find anything. It doesn't mean that you're ill. And people have misunderstood what this meant. There is a thing where basically the higher the range, the smaller the amount needs to be detected. You can sort of say tune it, but that's nothing to do with the amount that is considered required in order for you to be considered effective. So if you turn it up to fabulous degrees in order to catch the very tiny amount, that's fine. You've shown that the tiny amount is there, but that wouldn't show that you're infected. And kind of ironically, that's basically what Mullis was saying. He's saying it's there, the HIV, but the HIV isn't indicative that it was the causative factor for AIDS. Now, unfortunately, he was wrong. He was just simply wrong. And people are wrong in their understanding about how that would be transposable to the concept of looking for COVID. It's just not. It really isn't. And again, a very easy way to do this would be to, fine, do that. Find something that shouldn't be there, that couldn't possibly be there. And when you say that, people start shouting, well, it was in a goat, and it was in Coca-Cola, and it was in whiskey and stuff like that. And at this point you go, no, that wasn't the PCR test. That was the lateral flow test, which you can break by putting certain things on it, and it just gives you a positive response. That doesn't mean that the tests don't work. That just means that you broke it. Like, you know, if I break a speedometer and force it so that it says 140 miles per hour, okay, or that it says 0 whilst I'm driving at 80, it doesn't mean that it never worked. It just means I've broke it. Anyway, in October 2024, Dr. Cartland, feeling positive, tweets out, "I'm not getting struck off, so all's good. My defense is solid, and the recent muttering activity proves that they are shitting themselves." So on October the 14th to 24th, the Medical Practitioners Tribunal hearing dates. Now, the tribunal on October the 14th grants anonymity to Dr. A, Dr. B, Dr. C, and Mrs. J. It also grants Dr. A and Dr. B vulnerable witness status, allowing their evidence to be given in private. The following down the 15th, the tribunal rules that part of Dr. Cartland's defense bundle is completely inadmissible, including opinions on the merits of the allegations, COVID-19 vaccines, and alleged misconduct of third parties, but allows evidence of harassment by complainants against him. So this is interesting, okay, on a number of reasons, because Cartland says that it was a kangaroo court, that he was absolutely railroaded, that he wasn't allowed to include evidence that showed that he was under a coordinated attack by the 77th Brigade, and that actually he's absolutely right, that all of these vaccines do kill people and kill babies, and they're dangerous, and that COVID-19 wasn't very dangerous and such like that. So that's what was in this bundle, was essentially all the stuff that we've been talking about throughout this series, all the evidence that he's presented, which is wrong. But then just a load of his friends off Twitter saying, "Oh, it's awful what they've done to old Cartland, isn't it? It's all just miserable, all the way they all ganged up on him." And this is not allowed. And this is now seen by him and his followers as like, well, this is evidence that that he was railroaded. But this is not the case. And there was a very informative thread by a lady called Alice in Wait on Twitter. I wish to give her the credit for this. In response to issues about witnesses at MPTS hearings, surely any intelligent person can see that the hearing is about the doctor's behavior, not the behavior of others. Even if heavily criticized, doctors aren't private individuals. They're bound by professional standards at all time. An MPTS hearing isn't an employment tribunal. It isn't a court of law. It's a remit, and it's purely and simple on the doctor's behavior. So it's not there to like stake your case, right? It's not there to have an argument. It's not a court like that. It is to examine the behavior of the doctor, who should have been acting professionally, and in the eyes of the MPTS, we're going to see whether he did or not. There's no excuse for why you did that, so it doesn't matter. Let's take it as read that the army were after you. Then you should have been smart enough not to fall for it. Of course, that's not the case, you dozy sod, right? But you are a doctor. You are presenting yourself as a doctor. Like, if you worked for Tesco's, right, and you linked to Tesco's on your Facebook page, and then you put out a tweet saying Tesco's is rubbish, Tesco's could quite legitimately sack you for bringing the company into disrepute. These are standard social media clauses that are written into most people's contracts. It's just standard. But the fact that you are somebody who has the authority of being in a position of a doctor means that your opinion carries more weight and also has far more likelihood to damage the institution. Even under provocation, doctors must maintain public confidence. They must avoid bringing the profession into disrepute and must protect patient confidentiality, always. There is a cavernous gap between defending yourself responsibly and trying to win an argument online. And I think that's a very, very astute point. Doctors are expected to do the first, not the second, as they must consider their position and behave professionally. What others did is clearly not the remit of the MPTS. As an MPTS hearing isn't a court trial or an employment tribunal, its clear role is to decide whether a doctor's fitness to practice is impaired and what action to take against their registration. Its purpose is to protect the public and maintain confidence and uphold proper standards. Whether a patient found a doctor kind or caring is beside the point. At an MPT hearing about bullying, harassment, or false documentation, irrelevant evidence is excluded, as it should be. Calling it a kangaroo court just shows a misunderstanding about how the process works. And that's exactly it. So it doesn't matter if, like, you've got a strong letter from Jane saying, not only did I see other people picking on him on Twitter, but when I went to see him, he was lovely. It's like, that's great. He called a woman a blistered cunt. He sent bestiality. He set up sock puppet accounts. He arranged for people to try and harass people. He tried to dig dirt on people. He called people pedophiles. He then settled out of court and called them pedophiles as satanic pedophiles again. It seems fairly open and shut. Like, and here's the thing, right? Okay, you can still think that he's right. You can still think he's right about COVID. I don't. I think he's completely wrong about COVID. I think he's completely wrong about the vaccines, right? But you could think he was correct and still come away going, yeah, okay, I could see how in your position as a doctor, advertising yourself as a doctor, as a representative, therefore, of the GMC and the NHS, you shouldn't have conducted yourself like you did. There is an argument that even if he hadn't got into the harassment aspect of it and the name calling and the encouraging of the pylons, simply his positions would have made it untenable for him to work at the NHS. He called it medical tyranny. He said that they're in a plot to murder people, either through vaccines, midazolam and morphine. Why would you want to work there? Do you see? Anyway, on October the 16th, the tribunal refuses Dr. Cartland's application to stay proceedings on the grounds of abusive process, including claims of entrapment and GMC bias. And this comes down to the fact that basically he says that the WhatsApp message was entrapment and that the GMC is evidently biased against him because they won't allow his witnesses. On the 18th, the tribunal refuses Dr. Cartland's application to exclude a member of the public, Mrs. D, from the hearing. October the 21st, day 6 of the hearing, Dr. Cartland makes an application to adjourn proceedings for 3 months. Over the next few days, discussion on the adjournment continues, but Dr. Cartland is absent. On October the 24th, the tribunal grants the adjournment application, relisting the hearing for June 2025. In January 2025, the woman with the medical condition discovers that an account has been harassing her, A33 Arrogant, is a sock puppet belonging to Mr. Cartland. He's still pursuing her for no good reason, and he's setting up sock puppet accounts to do so. On February 2025, Dr. Cartland emails the GMC stating that he has no intention of being part of this tribunal in person. So he's decided that he's not going to attend the tribunal against him. In March 2025, he accuses the woman with the medical condition of being another account, a third account that he's been arguing with. And he's wrong. And he starts posting screenshots of the original woman's Blue Sky, showing that he's also been following her on there. April 25, Dr. Cartland emails the GMC again, confirming that he will not attend the reconvened tribunal in person. Some people might be saying that's a bit childish, emailing them twice, but we don't know if they responded. So he's just making sure they got the message. It's not being performative at all. In May 2025, Cartland tweets that the woman with the medical condition has AIDS, and she's got the AIDS from vaccines. That's honest, ethical Mr. Cartland. In the statement of the 28th May 2025, Dr. B states that he has provided further screenshots to the GMC and exhibits them, Dr. B describes that Dr. Cartland in one post threatened to end a certain person's career. That's Dr. B. For some reason, he's decided he's going to end his career. Dr. Cartland on May the 27th emails the GMC stating, "I will be represented by Mr. Diamond in my absence." Mr. Diamond's a lawyer. He's not some sort of like Spider-Man villain. May the 28th, Dr. B provides a further witness statement to the GMC detailing continued social media posts from Dr. Cartland on Instagram. So he's multiple platforms. He's still attacking the guy that he's already settled out of court with for harassment. May the 31st, Dr. Cartland posts on social media that he will allow the court of public opinion to decide on events, intending to inform over 360,000 people about the proceedings. So basically, he's going to tweet out the results. Most of his followers appear to be bots, by the way, because the number of actual followers he's got to the engagement is very different. I'm not suggesting that he's bought bots. It's just that Twitter tends to bot up accounts that had a position similar to his. June 2025, on June the 28th, Cartland posts on Twitter, "For those who don't realize the real-life consequences of their online and journalistic behavior, on Sunday night I was found unresponsive by my wife, collapsed following an overdose. The air ambulance was deployed and I was assessed at the local A&E and eventually discharged. The reason I took this course of action was because I saw no other possible way out of the bullying, abuse, reputational career loss, and continued coordinated multifaceted attacks, as well as financial ruin I face. I'm making this statement to raise awareness of what online abuse, irresponsible journalism, and protracted regulatory witch hunts has on a person. After a huge amount of love and support, I feel much better, positive, and special thanks to my wife, local friends, and brother. I will not allow you to take me to that place again. I won't name names here, but I'm certain that each and every one of my abusers and journalists know exactly who I am talking about. I want to place on the record before a break from this platform that I am not homophobic in any way, shape, or form, not a bully or harasser, not dishonest or unethical, and not a bad doctor. I had no role in the death of any of my late friends. See you all again soon. I will only be online to release all documents pertaining to my GMC case I am in possession of publicly for you all to adjudicate on." So that was what Cartland tweeted out. And that's horrible if he feels that he's been driven to that state. You could make counter arguments that you've brought quite a lot of this on yourself. And you seem, again, very keen to continue some of these actions when you could draw a line under it. Other people were not particularly sympathetic. Prominent account that argues with Cartland online, called Charlie Fraud, says, "Barbara, I'm going to give you the chance to come clean about your suicide attempt and why you were treated as a drunk rather than an overdose. And just in case you think I'm bluffing, I take it you're aware that your neighbours recorded it. Tell the truth, you grifting cunt." Now, obviously, we don't know what happened there, but high emotion on both sides of the argument. On June the 9th, Dr. B provides another witness statement confirming Dr. Cartland's posts have continued and his employers have been tagged, stating that he's proceeding with another civil claim. In the statement of the 9th of June 2025, Dr. B explains that the posts have continued and that his employers have been tagged in them. He states that he's now proceeding again with the civil claim against Dr. Cartland. So this is 2 years, 2 solid years of harassment against Dr. B. Much of it tinged with an air of homophobia or the idea that he's paedophile sympathizing, or involved in some sort of satanic ritual. In the June 9th, 2025 statement, he states, "I feel Dr. Cartland is doing this in order to further harass and defame me, to build a negative sentiment about me amongst his followers and the general public in the run-up to the MPT hearing and further legal proceedings, and to encourage others to continue to harass and to try to intimidate me." Tweets like this support this notion. This is something that Cartland tweeted out. Please follow and show Dr. B and his 150,000 followers before he cowardly deleted his account that we will never give up on ethics, safety, evidence, morals. Justice will be served. Share the shit out of this and let people come to the truth in their own time. Those last two things, sharing the shit out of it and letting people come to their truth in their own time, contradict one another, but let's not get bogged down. In his oral evidence, Dr. B accepted that Twitter was not a very pleasant place, but he asserted that healthcare professionals had an obligation to behave responsibly and abide by the codes of conduct of the social media platform and legislation. He said that Dr. Cartland knowingly enticed others to attack him and that he was trying to bait his followers into reacting to posts about Dr. B. And that's the crux of it there. Because this is going to be one of Cartland's defenses, that Twitter's a bear pit. Twitter's where you say horrible things. Ironic then that he basically cries when he says that people have fat shamed him and does this whole thing about him being bullied. Which is it? Is it a bear pit or is it or is that sort of behavior bullying? Because if you can recognize it in somebody else applied to yourself, why can't you recognize that that might be felt reciprocally on the other side? I think we all know why. The tribunal noted that in Dr. B's first statement, that Dr. Cartland in the first week of June posted the words "no comment" under a photograph that has two halves, one showing a line of Nazi flags and one showing a line of pride flags. Dr. B states that Dr. Cartland also posted a picture of two adult figures, one labeled female mom and one labeled male dad, and two child figures, one labeled girl and the other labeled boy. The adults are holding an umbrella, which is stopping drops from a rainbow falling from above. Underneath the caption, Dr. Cartland has written, "I will teach my child so there is no confusion." Dr. B states that this picture is obvious homophobic imagery. Yeah. Again, Cartland has tried to claim that basically his views that homosexuality is homosexual marriage is against his biblical beliefs, but this goes further. This goes into just general rabble-rousing shit, basically. June the 11th, the Medical Practitioners Tribunal reconvenes. Dr. Cartland is absent. The tribunal grants the GMC's application to proceed in his absence, and the tribunal refuses Dr. Cartland's application for the entirety of proceedings to be held in private session. John Bai is following it, and he tweets out, David Cartland's long-delayed GMC hearing over allegations of harassment started this week. Apparently, he didn't show up. As John Bai tweets out, instead, he spent the time harassing and threatening doctors, nurses, and the GMC, its solicitors, and all the witnesses in the case. For example,
what, online?
Yeah, he tweets out a picture of Dr. A, I believe, says this woman loves to jab the kids up, came out of retirement to do so. Anyone listening to the today at the MPTS and trying to sleep tonight needs to grab a mirror and take a long look at themselves. Abhorrent, unlawful misdirection, removal of context, blatant lies and misrepresentation. Good job barristers are under the scrutiny of SRA solicitors. You will enjoy this one. Complaints incoming. I would hate for the transcription of the closing statement of the corrupt GMC to be made public for my over 300,000 followers to deliberate. For the record, you did this. And then he's listed all the names of the witnesses in the case, which he'd been told not to do because the tribunal had granted them anonymity. John Bai tweets again, Cartland has also been busy posting abuse about a doctor who sued him for libel before, and now he's being sued again. Anyone contributing to his crowdfunder may as well cut out the middleman and donate directly to a trans charity, which is where all the money went last time he lost. Cartland tweets out, Dr. B has advised that he's filing proceedings against me. I'm sure you've all seen my recent posts exposing what my concerns have been and how he conducted a campaign of lawfare against me whilst playing Darvo. I need all of your help to defend myself against this man who has literally terrorized me for 3 years. You called him a paedophile just from nowhere. How's he terrorized you? Like, it was literally said that you've got to conduct yourself with a degree of professionality. Like, you can defend yourself, but like you can defend your positions, but there's I forget the exact phrase, defending your position and defending yourself or trying to win an argument is a different thing. Like the lack of self-awareness and the projection into this is frightening. On June the 12th, the tribunal grants the GMC's application to amend the allegation to include conduct up until 2025 and include new evidence, which is basically Dr. B's supplemental statements, finding Dr. Cartland brought the situation on himself. On the 13th, the tribunal grants GMC's further application to amend the allegations in Schedule 1 to reflect Instagram posts by Dr. Cartland. So even as the tribunal is going on, he's making posts that are being included as evidence because he's continuing to do the thing that he's on the tribunal is trying to find out whether or not he did. During the tribunal, Mr. Moran, the lawyer for the GMC, noted, Mr. Moran submitted that the emails and social media posts now provided by the GMC show that Dr. Cartland's conduct had been taking place over a long period of time, that he had not reflected on his behavior. He said that Dr. Cartland was in denial, had no insight, and was continuing to target Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C. He said Dr. Cartland was fixated on targeting complainants and that he lacked any remorse. Mr. Moran went on to highlight some of the material now provided. He referred firstly to an email exchange with the GMC solicitor where he called the investigation the protracted, incessant 20-month investigation against me, to which anyone outside the GMC is clearly vexatious, malicious, and weaponized. He accepted that Dr. Cartland could contest matters, but said that Dr. Cartland's conduct had gone beyond a denial and is an aggravating feature in the case. He said that Dr. Cartland was still posting on Twitter about the case and has suggested that his many followers contact the GMC solicitor and had publicized her telephone number. That's not a good idea. He also suggested that followers inundate them, referring to the GMC. Again, when you're trying to fight accusations of consistent patterns of harassment and campaigns of pestering people, trying to get people to, harass and pester people in a consistent campaign is not the best defense. Maybe he's going for that sort of Sherlock Holmes of hiding in plain sight, but it didn't work. Secondly, Mr. Moran pointed out that Dr. Cartland had been posting online about the MPTS hearing, calling it vexatious and a kangaroo court, although he pointed out that he did spell kangaroo wrong. Mr. Moran said that Dr. Cartland was misrepresenting what had happened in the hearing. Dr. Cartland said that the GMC had forced him to appear at a public hearing, and Mr. Moran said that Dr. Cartland had also misrepresented the allegation about providing a COVID-19 vaccine exemption certificate. Thirdly, Mr. Moran stated that Dr. Cartland had continued to post about Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C. He gave the tribunal some examples, including the fact that Dr. Cartland had posted a link to a video about the COVID-19 vaccine, apparently including Dr. A, and said, how many lies in one short video? He called Dr. B an attention-seeking narc and claimed that Dr. C was part of a dark organization. Dr. Cartland had also breached the anonymity of Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C by naming them online as complainants, and he mailed veiled threats by saying, "Karma is a bitch." Mr. Moran explained that Dr. Cartland had not stopped his behavior despite a civil claim brought by Dr. B, in which Dr. Cartland had provided undertakings and an apology to Dr. B in open court. Reminders of Dr. Cartland's obligations under the GMP and requests to refrain from breaching the anonymity order imposed by the tribunal were also ignored. Mr. Moran drew the tribunal's attention to the apology in Dr. Cartland's witness statement, but said that it was perfunctory and not real. He said that Dr. Cartland had not demonstrated any concern for the victims of his conduct and showed no contrition, no remorse or insight, and said that there was therefore a high risk of repetition. In terms of serious misconduct, Mr. Moran pointed to the fact that Dr. Cartland had harassed 4 different complainants and said that this conduct was aggravated because he had encouraged his followers to also do so. He said that there had been a clear impact on each of them, as described in the tribunal's determination of the fact stage. He said that the conduct took place over a long period of time, was very persistent, and continued despite the civil claim and warnings from the GMC. Dr. Cartland had also threatened retaliatory action towards Dr. A by email after she had made a complaint. Mr. Moran said that the conduct was also aggravated because some of the posts were hostile to the LGBTQ+ community. Mr. Moran also addressed the tribunal about the dishonesty aspect of the allegation. He said that if the COVID-19 exemption certificate had been provided, it would have endangered public health and contravened both UK and USA government policy at the time. Cartland's lawyer, Mr. Diamond, said that Twitter was a bear pit and that sticks and stones break people's bones. But he also said that Mr. Diamond said that for some time the complainants would not have even known about the harassment. He said that Mrs. J, for example, was not aware about it until it was drawn to her attention, where she received an anonymous package through the post. That's not a mitigating factor. She didn't know that you were harassing her until somebody told her that it was you that was doing it. Like, come on. He explained that Dr. A had tried to get him to lose his job. Dr. C gave as good as he gets, and there were issues of COVID-related payments to Dr. B. The tribunal took into account the statement recently released from Dr. Cartland. The tribunal noted that on the face of it, Dr. Cartland showed some understanding of his misconduct and apologised to the complainants. For example, he stated, "I wholly admit that I've reacted unwisely online. I've been quick to react to abuse and retaliate. I found it difficult not to engage with trolls and adversaries when they were personal, particularly about family. I wish to place on the record my sincere apologies to all people that have been distressed, harmed, or offended by my words and actions, in particular each of the complainants, and hope that the panel understand that I have equally been distressed, harmed, and offended by actions against me. I understand the bringing of the profession into disrepute and affecting confidence in the profession aspects of the case that you are considering. For my part in this alleged harassment, I wholly regret engaging. I've made hundreds of trolls being personal, aggressive, and tried anything to goad reaction. This unrelenting attack has led to retaliation and self-defense, which I absolutely admit has not been wholly becoming of a practicing GP." However, the tribunal thought that the statement demonstrated that Dr. Cartland still had a long way to go in developing insight. He termed the allegations of harassment as ironic and suggested that the medical profession had seemingly lost its duty of candor. He said, "I argue that I have increased the trust and positively affected public confidence in the profession rather than the opposite." He did not accept the dishonesty, stating that it had resulted from an act of entrapment. He also said that he should have taken senior advice, but that he had been professionally isolated. The tribunal concluded that Dr. Cartland was making excuses to explain his behaviour rather than taking personal responsibility for it. The tribunal gave his statement very little weight. It showed a mixed picture in terms of insight, and the tribunal was concerned that it had been provided very late in the day, only after the tribunal had found Dr. Cartland's fitness to practice to be impaired. It was not signed by him, and Dr. Cartland had not attended the tribunal to give evidence to explain his level of insight. Mr. Moran was not able to cross-examine him about this. Also, the tribunal was very mindful that Dr. Cartland had apologised twice before, once in his witness statement and once to Dr. B during the civil claim proceedings, but had nonetheless continued with this behaviour. The tribunal noted that Dr. Cartland has since resiled from his apology in court to Dr. B, stating that he was forced to make it. The tribunal also noticed that through the harassment period, Dr. Cartland had made it clear that he was a doctor. He introduced himself as such on his social media sites, and his picture showed him with a green top on, which appeared to be surgical scrubs, and a stethoscope round his neck. The tribunal decided that this could have the effect of damaging the reputation of the medical profession. And this is exactly what we've been saying. Like this, and this shouldn't be a surprise to him that to go against essentially your bosses whilst trying to sort of like, sit on the fence and be a representative of them when it suits you or when it gives you a bonus or a boost. Of course, that's going to be a problem. June the 19th, determination of facts announced, fully determination handed down. All allegations against Dr. Cartland are found proved, including use of X, Telegram, Getter, and Instagram accounts as a doctor, proof for all. Posting, reposting contacts on X, Instagram, and Telegram regarding Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C, proof for all. Encouraging users to obtain info about, contact, and or harass Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C, proved for all. Posting on X about Dr. B on June the 6th to 7th, 2023, proved. Threatening Dr. A via email on January the 23rd, 2023, proved. Creating an X account in Dr. C's name around July 2022, proved. Harassment of Dr. A, Dr. B, and Dr. C, proved for all. Conduct towards Dr. B motivated by hostility towards the LGBTQ+ community, proved. Offering to provide a COVID-19 exemption certificate on WhatsApp in September 2023, proved. Stating that he would list a medical exemption for anyone, whether they had one or not, proved. Intending to create a false medical record, proved. Dishonesty regarding COVID-19 exemption certificate, proved. Receiving Mrs. J's email in November 22, proved. Sharing Ms. J's email and details on Getter, November 27, 2022, proved for all points. Sharing Ms. J's email and naming practice on Getter, January the 17th, 2023, proved for all points. Sharing Mrs. J's email and first name on X, July 25, 2023, proved for all points. Sharing Mrs. J's email, first name, and naming practice on X, August 2023, proved for all points. Actions designed to encourage harassment of Mrs. J, proved. That's 17 counts, proven guilty in every single one of them. And I don't know whether you spotted it, Brent, but not a single one of those was for whistleblowing. Not a single one of those was for anything that he said about COVID policies, COVID practices, COVID vaccines. It was all for his actions. So when
nothing to do with his opinion.
No, it's to do with harassing people, harassing various people, like encouraging others to harass them, doxing people, sending out people's addresses. And so this grandiose idea that he's got, that he was struck off because he dared to question, or that he was a whistleblower, is simply not borne out by the facts. John Bye was following the case on Twitter. He tweeted out, David Cartland's GMC hearing ruled that he did harass fellow doctors. His statement to the tribunal admitted he was addicted to social media and knows that he needs to stay off of it. But he went straight back to X to attack the GMC witnesses and journalists covering his hearing. He tweeted out, if anyone has any comments for the GMC, please check the link. FYI, redacted is the online handle of a person who effectively is the commander of the 77th Brigade military unit. The 77th Brigade answers to the British Crown, who put control on the 77th in the hands of the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is stalking David Cartland. Follow the money, redacted, his snout is straight in the trough of Big Pharma. And in response to Cornwall Live, which will be somewhat of a running theme, who had the temerity to report on a local GP being struck off for harassing colleagues. He tweets out, utterly sick journalism, rag doesn't come close. Now, it's interesting that John was pointing out that he said that he was addicted to social media. According to John Bye, Dr. Cartland also shared an article about the hearing by conspiracy rag Epoch Times, which includes the claims that people criticise him secretly work for the British Army's 77th Brigade under the command of a sheep farmer. I'm sure that went down well with the GMC. And this is an Epoch Times article. Doctor who spoke out against COVID-19 vaccines faces being struck off for misconduct, which is very close to being accurate, because it intimates that he was struck off for speaking out against COVID-19 vaccines, but it actually tells the truth that it was misconduct. Sheep references stem from Mutton Crew. Well, that's a fabulous headline. John Bye tweets out, update, after a tribunal found that David Cartland's fitness to practice was impaired, he took to Twitter to proclaim that he was looking forward to being struck off. Meanwhile, his barrister told the tribunal that he would offer to quit social media to save his job. So in the tribunal, which David Cartland didn't have the guts to attend, he told his solicitor to beg for mercy and leniency from the MPTS by saying that he wants to stay working as a GP and he will quit social media. I believe he even said that he offered to delete everything that he'd done, and start again, essentially. However, he decides to tweet out to his followers, who apparently don't bother to read like the tribunal notes or anything like that. The prospect of being struck off was daunting to begin with, but I accept it as one of the best things to ever happen. Freedom, more family time, less stress, no more 10-minute appointments, rushing, holding a bladder and trying to give good care in a broken system. Instead, onwards, Dr. Cartland goes in a new era with plenty more of this. Why he would be running around his GP practice holding a bladder is anyone's question, but whatever it is to amuse yourself. Dr. David Cartland, the honest GP, whatever they say, honesty is the main motivation along with ethics, safety and evidence. Please share this website everywhere, as I want to focus on growing this project after the strike off, a blend of allopathic and naturopathic. But you're not being honest, because you're not being honest about why you were struck off. The hotlines put out in a last-ditch plea for leniency. Dr. Cartland offered to quit social media as a doctor, promising never to post medical advice again. He even promised a sanction if he returned. He would be struck off. He also vowed to retract all online conduct and undergo social media training at the behest of the GMC. So that's one thing that he's saying in court, but he couldn't fucking help himself. He was straight back on social media before the ink was even dry, so to speak. He then tweets out, Mr. Cartland, I've just been erased from the GMC register. I am no longer a doctor under their jurisdiction. I am now ready to speak freely, openly, and transparently about the behavior of the tribunal, counsel, and complainants. I have all of the receipts. Watch this space. Thank you all for your incredible support.